Have you ever felt like you owe your life to a complete stranger? What would you do if you had the chance to find that person after years of searching? Tell us in the comments if you've experienced something similar, because today I'm going to share a story that will touch your heart. It was July 2007 in Hunan Province, China. Torrential rains had been falling for days without stopping, turning streets into raging rivers and homes into desperate islands. Li Mei, a 22-year-old who worked at a textile factory, never imagined that gray morning would change her life forever. The water had risen so fast that when Li Mei woke up, it was already up to her knees inside her small first-floor apartment. Panic seized her when she realized the current was too strong for her to walk out. Her cries for help were lost among the roar of the water and the wails of other trapped neighbors. Can you imagine waking up to find your home completely flooded? How do you think you would react? Let us know in the comments, because what happened next is incredible. For 3 hours, Li Mei fought against the rising water. Her strength was fading as she clung to a ceiling beam, feeling the icy water numbing her legs. The smell of mud and desperation filled the air. Her tears mixed with the dirty water surrounding her face when she thought there would be no escape. That's when she heard a voice in English, strong and determined, shouting instructions from outside. A group of international rescuers had arrived as part of humanitarian aid. Among them was Michael Thompson, a 28-year-old paramedic from Dallas, Texas, who had traveled as a volunteer with a non-governmental organization. Michael saw Li Mei through the broken window, clinging to the beam, her lips purple from the cold and her eyes filled with terror. Without hesitation, he plunged into the murky water, fighting against the current that threatened to drag him away too. The water reached his chest, and every step was a battle against the force of nature. Have you ever seen someone risk their life for a complete stranger? What do you think about these acts of heroism? Share your thoughts with us. With a rope tied around his waist and unwavering determination, Michael managed to reach Li Mei. His hands trembled from both cold and nerves when he finally reached her. "Easy, I'm going to get you out of here," he shouted in English. Although she didn't understand the words, the calm and confident tone of his voice immediately reassured her. The rescue was desperate. Michael had to carry Li Mei on his shoulders while fighting against the current that seemed to want to drag them downstream. Every step was a small victory, every breath a gift. Li Mei remembers to this day the smell of Michael's cologne mixed with the dirty water, and how his strong arms made her feel safe for the first time in hours. When they finally reached safe ground, Li Mei was unconscious from hypothermia. Michael carried her to the makeshift ambulance, where Chinese doctors fought to stabilize her. Before she fully woke up, Michael had already left with his team to another disaster zone. The only thing Li Mei remembered when she woke up 3 days later in the hospital was an American face with kind blue eyes, a reassuring voice, and the name Michael that someone had mentioned. The doctors didn't know more details about her rescuer, only that he was part of an international team that had continued on their way. Do you believe in destiny? Do you think some people come into our lives for a special reason? We want to know your opinion. Years passed, and Li Mei couldn't forget the man who had saved her life. She moved to Beijing, got married, had a daughter, but always carried in her heart the debt of gratitude toward that American stranger. Every year, on the anniversary of the flood, she would light a candle and thank him in silence. In 2019, Li Mei decided she had to find him. She had learned English and began searching online. She contacted humanitarian organizations, posted in forums, wrote to embassies. Her search became a beautiful obsession, finding Michael to thank him and show him how she had built a beautiful life thanks to his bravery. Social media became her main tool. She posted the story over and over, with the only blurry photo she had managed to get of the rescue group. Thousands of people shared her story, moved by this 16-year search that had touched hearts around the world. Have you ever used social media to find someone important from your past? Do you find this search romantic, or do you think sometimes it's better to leave things as they are? Li Mei's perseverance finally paid off in March 2023. A friend of Michael's saw the viral post on Facebook and immediately recognized the story his friend had told many times. Michael, now 44, worked as a chief paramedic in Dallas, and was married with 2 children. When Michael received the call from his friend, he couldn't believe what he was hearing. He remembered that day in China perfectly, remembered the terrified young woman he had rescued, but never knew what happened to her afterward. Throughout all these years, he had also thought about her, especially when he saw news about natural disasters. The first contact was through a video call organized by a Chinese television program. Li Mei had prepared a speech in English, but when she saw Michael's face on the screen, now with some gray hair but the same kind eyes, she could only cry and repeat, thank you, over and over. Michael was also moved to tears. "You don't have to thank me for anything," he said with a smile. "I just did what anyone would have done. I'm so glad to know you're okay, that you have a beautiful family. What do you think about these reunions after so many years? Do you think things happen for a reason, or is it just coincidence? Tell us your philosophy of life." Li Mei showed him photos of her 10-year-old daughter, told him about her work as a translator, about how she had learned English thinking of him. Michael shared stories of his children, of other rescues he had done, of how that experience in China had marked his career as a rescuer. But the story didn't end there. In September 2023, Michael traveled to China with his family to meet Li Mei in person. The encounter at Beijing airport was emotional. 2 people who had shared the most dramatic moment of their lives, now reunited as old friends. Li Mei had organized a visit to Hunan, to the exact place where the rescue had occurred. The town had been completely rebuilt, but she remembered every detail. Standing by the river that now flowed peacefully, Li Mei and Michael hugged as they remembered that day that had changed their lives forever. "You gave me a second chance at life," Li Mei told him in perfect English. "And now I want you to know that opportunity wasn't wasted. I'm happy I have a beautiful family. I help other people as a translator in emergencies. Your act of courage multiplied into thousands of moments of kindness." Michael smiled with tears in his eyes. "Li Mei, you reminded me why I chose this job. During these 16 years, every time a rescue got difficult, I thought of you, and that gave me strength to continue. You saved me too. Do you think anonymous heroes know the impact they have on our lives? Have you had the chance to thank someone who marked your life in a positive way?" Today, Li Mei and Michael maintain a friendship that transcends oceans and cultures. Their families have met, their children are virtual friends, and both have learned that sometimes strangers can become the angels we need in our darkest moments. Li Mei established a foundation that helps victims of natural disasters in China, inspired by the kindness she received. Michael continues being a rescuer, now with a renewed perspective on the lasting impact that saving a life can have. This story teaches us that acts of kindness transcend time and borders, that gratitude can move mountains, and that we never know how our actions can change someone else's world. Li Mei waited 16 years to say thank you, but it's never too late to acknowledge the light that others have brought to our lives. Who do you owe a thank you that you've never been able to say? What story of kindness have you lived that deserves to be told? Share it in the comments, because we all need to remember that in this world there are still everyday heroes who make it worth believing in humanity.